We are ready to go to James Heappey, Armed Forces Minister, standing by to talk to us about all things politics this morning. Really good to have you on the programme. Good morning to you. First of all, the big question of the day is, why is Liz Truss still Prime Minister?
Well, because she is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. She won the Conservative Leadership Party election over the summer. And whilst nobody would pretend that the last 5 or 6 weeks have been the start to her premiership she would have wanted, the reality is that, yes, a mistake was made. She went too far, too fast with the mini budget as it was. But there are also a set of global economic conditions that require stability in government. There's also a security situation in Europe right now that requires stability in government. And what we must do as Conservative politicians is row in behind the Prime Minister and get on with delivering for the country now that she has owned up to and apologised for the mistake that was made with the budget.
Forced to apologise, let's be honest about it. And you know as well as I do, the only reason that she has stayed in office is because she's got rid of her Chancellor, but she espoused every single one of those policies that she sacked him for. And lots of people just don't understand why on earth she remains in the top office in this country.
Well, look, I mean, I think in politics, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If she did apologise and you say, well, she only did so because she was forced to do so. But how many times have you done interviews where you've been trying to extract an admission of guilt and an apology from a politician and they've simply refused to offer it? I actually think it is good that she has owned up to the mistake that was made. Now, you're absolutely right. The policies that were within the mini budget were policies that she campaigned on over the summer.
What does she stand for without them? We don't even know what she stands for.
Because I don't think that she has abandoned an intent to cut taxes in the way that she envisaged over the summer for good. I think that she has recognised that to try to do all of it in one fiscal event very soon after the start of her premiership, in the context of a very skittish market with the pension funds very highly leveraged against the value of gilts and the borrowing package causing a collapse in confidence in gilts and thus a fall in price that was going to precipitate all sorts of badness in the city. I think that reacting to those economic realities is the leadership that she needed to show. But I don't think that she has abandoned a plan to create a low tax, high growth UK in the medium term. I think she's just recognised the market conditions didn't allow it now.
She quite clearly has abandoned almost all of the policies when it comes to cutting taxes, and that is what a lot of Conservative grassroots members voted on. They will feel shortchanged having voted for Liz Truss for low taxes, and now taxes are actually not going to be cut, apart from bankers' bonuses. Taxes are going up, and they're going to have to go, and there are going to be spending cuts. Last Friday she said absolutely no spending cuts. There will now have to be spending cuts. Her entire economic agenda has been ripped up.
Well, I mean, just an important distinction. So it is not just bankers' bonuses that is left, that national insurance cuts are still happening. Stamp duty cuts are still happening. And although it is not a tax cut, it's if you like, a sort of subsidy, the capping of energy prices for this winter still stands, and that should not be sniffed at. We've gone from a place where the projected average energy bill for the average household was going to be £6,000, and as a consequence of the government's intervention, it's reduced this winter to £2,500. So there is still a very meaningful set of cost of living measures that have been introduced by the government for this winter that still stand. Now, the wider package, the tax cuts that were designed to quickly catalyse growth, it has been concluded that the reaction of the market was such that they were simply unsustainable at this point. And whilst that is not what Liz would have wanted, of course not, when she was planning her first 50 days in government, this will not have been how she mapped it out. But you have to react to events as they unfold around you. You have to make quick decisions. And when you've made mistakes, you need to own them in order to restore confidence. And we're seeing that the markets are regaining their confidence in the government. And if the Conservative Parliamentary Party can come in behind their Prime Minister, and believe me, I hear from more grassroots members that that's what they want than I hear anything else, then I think actually we can get through this and we can govern in the national interest, and we can get ourselves to a place where we are judged by our merits at the next election rather than just tearing ourselves to shreds over the remaining time in this Parliament.
That's a huge if the Conservative Party can unite behind her when you've got moderate Conservatives like Robert Halfon describing her as a libertarian jihadist. But look, I know we're really tight on time. I just want to ask you, in your capacity as Armed Forces Minister, about the fact that Jeremy Hunt yesterday saying that 3% of GDP on defence, that rise is now in question, nothing being taken off the table. You must be concerned about that.
Well, just on the language of colleagues, I think we've all got to be careful to show respect within the parliamentary party for the differing views and people's perceptions of how Boris's leadership was ended and the causes for that, people's perceptions of why Theresa's leadership was ended and the perceptions of that. There is a whole load of rancour, and it's only going to be resolved by us trying to be civil to one another until we all get back on the same page. As for defence spending, I mean, my view is that we need to be spending 3% of GDP on defence by 2030 because we live in an ever more unstable world, and the price of prosperity is security. You cannot have one without the other. And my view is that the Chancellor gets that. He's had some conversations with Ben Wallace, the Secretary of State for Defence, and I'm confident that even if it is a very difficult fiscal environment, everybody understands the need to keep our country safe in these challenging times.
Just very quickly, can Liz Truss win the next election?
Well, I think that will be a matter for the electorate at that point. But what I can absolutely guarantee you is that the Conservative Party, as a party, whoever is in charge, will not succeed at the next general election if we spend the next year tearing ourselves to shreds and disagreeing over who should be the leader. We have a leader chosen by our members. We need to get behind her. And if we do, then there is every chance that we can win the next general election, because what nobody is talking about at the moment is that the party that has started to call itself the government in waiting actually has no answers to the current economic circumstance either. They are kidding us that they will neither raise taxes nor cut spending. And that is a completely unsustainable position. The Prime Minister and the Chancellor get that. That's why you're seeing the pragmatism that they've shown over the last few days. So we need to get together as a party, make our case to the electorate, and let you hold the opposition to the scrutiny that they need to be put under so that their plans are exposed for what they are.
Okay, James Heappey, Armed Forces Minister, thank you very much for your time this morning.